Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 4 Thursday night showdown. A fantastic game between the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos on their third quarter. It's not a great game. But it's a game, and there is a showdown slate on DraftKings that we're going to try and play. So I don't care how good the game is. There's games to play, and we're going to go get it. For those of you who are new to the channel, thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring the notifications bell. As always, we shoot for 10% likes to views. So if this video gets 10,000 views, we need 1,000 likes. If it gets 15,000 views, we need 1,500 likes. That's up to you. Costs you absolutely nothing. Click a damn thing. Reply to the video. Make sure you drop a like on it if you actually watch the content. I appreciate you guys coming back each and every day for another new NFL video on this channel. I do love the support that you guys are giving. We passed 35,000 subscribers, and it does mean a lot. I appreciate you guys coming back all the time and clicking the things. As always, on these single game showdown videos, we are partnered up now with Fantasy Labs. If you want to go check out Fantasy Labs, there is a link that is going to be down below in the description. Just click show more, look under discounts. You get a discounted rate over at Fantasy Labs. The one that I would suggest you try if you've never used a lineup builder before and would like to try for an entire weekend of NFL, this Thursday morning, I want you to purchase the NFL trial offer. Use the link. Buy the trial offer. That'll give you access to the Thursday night football slate, the main slate on Sunday, the Sunday night single game showdown slate, which is a great game, and the Monday night single game showdown slate, which is a great game. You get 4 different slates, full slates with maximum tournament sizes for you to try and use that optimizer and use the projections over at Fantasy Labs. And you help the stream by helping out the people that support us. So if you want to support the stream and the channel, that's the way to do it. And we're going to go through some of the groups that we build, as always, on this slate. So let's take a look at the players. It's an ugly game, guys. And look, the Jets suck. The Broncos are on their third quarterback. Drew Lock got injured, and then they had Jeff Driscoll starting, and then they said that Brett Rippon is going to be the starter for this game against the Jets. And look, anybody that's starting against the Jets is good enough for me. I'm probably going to go after him. This is one of those slates where we've said many times before, and look, they signed Blake freaking Bortles. So like maybe he gets in and finishes this game. You're always worried on DraftKings because you got to have a captain spot. If you watched the How to Win It Single Game Showdown video that we posted on this channel right before the season started, you know that all time, less than 15% of single game showdown tournaments are won by quarterbacks. That is typically because most quarterbacks don't have tournament winning upside by themselves, especially in a single game showdown. It's kind of exclusive to guys like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, maybe a Deshaun Watson, a Josh Allen, somebody who can pile up 30 to 40, Kyler Murray, guys that can pile up 35, 40 DraftKings points at quarterback, because typically if they do that, there's going to be one wide receiver that's going to have similar to that, and 70% of those slates are won by a wide receiver or a running back as captain. For that reason, a quarterback can have a really good game and have like 26 DraftKings points, where the 1.5x really comes into play when a really good game for a wide receiver or running back is 35 to 40 points. It's rare to see quarterbacks get up into that range. We saw it on Monday Night Football with Patrick Mahomes. Yes, those guys are outliers, and we'll allow more allocation of those guys in our lineups if you're doing mass multi-entry, but typically the field has way too much exposure to quarterbacks at captain. So if you're going to play Sam Darnold as your quarterback, sorry, I just threw up a little bit in my mouth. Know that the field is probably going to have more of Sam Darnold than they should at quarterback at cap. I'm going to try and get through this video because this game sucks. You'll probably see more allocation at quarterback captains than you should, because quarterbacks in projections tend to have a higher median projection than other positions. We are going to have some exposure to our quarterbacks, but I'm going to limit the quarterbacks usually to around 7 or 8%. when it comes to the amount that I'm going to allow to be captains. And we're going to build those groups around them. Whether you're using a lineup builder or not, you should be thinking about your lineups this way when you're building. If you're building by hand, any lineup you have with Sam Darnold at captain, you need to include at least 2 of his wide receivers. Jamison Crowder, listed as limited participant in Tuesday's injury report. We'll see if he goes in this game. If he goes, you have to include him in your Sam Darnold grouping. And we want 2 of him or Berrios. Not going to use Balaj in that. Am going to use Herndon in that. Perriman's out. Maybe Malone, maybe Griffin, right? And you're going to want 2 of any one of his pass catchers involved in the Sam Darnold group. I'm also going to build a group. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this much easier on Fantasy Labs in just a bit. You're going to build it with basically every usable offensive player. We're going to stick with Rippin, including the quarterback on that team. KJ Hamler, Patrick, whatever. We're going to do the same thing for our Rippin lineups if we're going to plug in Rippin at captain. We're going to plug him in there. Let's take a look at the Denver Broncos targets. Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick, Gordon, Hamler, then Deshaun Hamilton after them. So we're going to build a group and make sure that we build it around those guys. So I'm not going to include Melvin Gordon III in my quarterback group, but I'm not going to disallow Melvin Gordon to show up in those lineups. He has enough usage and he can have a good enough game at flex to warrant being in those lineups. So I'm not going to force him into those groups, but if he ends up as the 3rd guy, I'm totally fine with it. As I said, we're going to add Fant. We're going to add Jeudy. Not going to include Lindsey in that group. Are going to include Patrick. Am going to include Hamler. And I also include the kickers in my captain's group. I allow them to pick at least one, but then we build our defense and kicker group later that we always talk about. So let's do that one now. I make sure that I'm only allowing a maximum of 1 for both teams when it comes to their kickers and their defense. So we're going to build this group around the kickers and defense. At most 1. I'm not forcing them into any lineups, but I'm making so that 2 aren't in there. Now, in a game like this, where both teams could theoretically have turnover issues, and sacks and turnovers are the easiest way, you can expand your group to allow 2 at most in a lineup if you want, especially if you're building more than 150 lineups into your mass entering, like the mini max games, which I know some people in our Discord have really started experimenting with to get more and more contrarian as those lineups go along, as they enter, as they build more tournaments out. As one tournament fills, DraftKings adds another one, and you can try and bink one of them with 300 or 450 lineups by playing different lineups, 150 different lineups in those 3 different tournaments. You're not entering 450 in any one. You're attacking by being more contrarian in the secondary lineups. The next groups that we're going to build, if you are going to use, let's say Noah Fant, who I think is probably going to be one of the more popular captains on this slate, as well as the running backs, guys like Melvin Gordon III, particularly could be the most popular running back, but I don't think you need to build many groupings or many rules around Melvin Gordon, aside from maybe like if Melvin Gordon's going to be my captain, I'm not going to allow the Jets defense to be in that lineup. Noah Fant, if you're putting him in there, you have got to pair him with his quarterback. Same goes for any other Denver pass catching player. Jerry Jeudy at captain, Rippin is going to be the quarterback. Make that group as well. Same with Tim Patrick. Same with KJ Hamler. If you are putting them into your captain spot, you have to include them in the grouping. Now, let's move over to Fantasy Labs, as I was talking about before. Here is their lineup builder. I'm in the optimizer, as you can kind of see here. You go to settings, which is right here. I have one pre-made for the sake of this video. I will allow it to use a minimum of 90% of the cap. If you're having problems, you don't want to see that, you can set this to 85%. It can use all the way up to 100% of the cap. I've got it set to max exposure of 80. If you want to have less than 80% of any one player, or more, if you're not against having 100% of any one player, go for it. Range of outcomes has to do with the amount of shuffle. So if a player has a 20-point expectation, every time it builds a new lineup, it's going to make that player have a range of 16 to 24 points instead of just a hard 20 points as the projection says. It leads you to having more variance in your lineups and more different combinations of players because it kind of shuffles them a little bit as you go along. I won't allow a kicker or a defense to be in my captain spot as they tend to win about 5% of the showdown slates, and I want to stay firmly on the right side of the math. I will allow anybody to be in those flex spots. Going by position, we have one group: pair a captain QB with at least 2 of his wide receivers, tight ends, or kicker. We talked about building that group if you're building by hand. Pair a captain QB with at least 1 quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end from the opposing team. Talked to you about building that group as well. Pair the captain wide receiver with his quarterback from the same team. Pair captain tight end with exactly 1 quarterback from the same team. You can then build player groups like a correlation. Add correlation when lineups include Melvin Gordon, but not captain, right? Because there are 2 running backs in this game, and I'm going to assume for the sake of this video that Lindsey is going to be active. So we're not going to put his captain and then we're going to put him there. I don't want Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay to show up in the flex of any lineup. I am fine if Melvin Gordon is the captain and we plug in Phillip Lindsay as a mid-range value in that lineup, because in that situation, Melvin Gordon can go off, have his winning captains type game, but Phillip Lindsay doesn't. That's how I'm going to build that group. Not really going to build one of these for the Jets. You can also include position groups. If you say if a running back is captain, if there's a captain running back, then use 0 defense from the other team. Very easy to build those, whether into the player groups, player correlations, or positions. So we apply these settings. We head over here. I've got it set to build 100 lineups. Let's make it build 150. We click the generate lineups button and the lineups builder will kind of build the rest for you. Whether you're building by hand or whether you're using the lineup builder to mass multi-entry, I think that it's a good idea on single game showdown slates, especially on main slates, to kind of look at players that you may not be thinking of. Guys like Duvernay, guys like Nick Boyle, who were extreme values on Monday Night Football, and both of them came through with a touchdown. If you're on main slates, everybody thought that Rex Burkhead came out of nowhere last weekend, but if you look at it realistically, any optimizer that you were using was trying to slam Rex Burkhead into lineups last weekend, and everybody X'd him out because he did have a good point per dollar expectation. As I was saying here, this spits out everything that we have. We can sort by captains. As you can see, it's got 33% Brett Rippon. This is exactly what I was talking about. We're going to set him to a maximum of, let's say, 7%. I'm going to set Sam Darnold to a maximum of 7% of lineups as my captain, and we're going to rerun these things. There's absolutely no lineup builder that you can go to, make no rules, go run a vanilla set of X amount of lineups, plug it into a tournament, and win, and have a winning plus EV expectation. That is just not the reality of how it goes. I sit there and I build rules and I tweak ownership projections and I make sure that I get the runs that I want. This second run already gave me Brett Rippon now at 7%, Sam Darnold at 7% at captain. Clearly, if I look at the overall, they're going to be in more of my overall lineups because quarterbacks do play well in flex for you across your lineups in single game showdown. And then we have our captains here, which I will continue to tweak until games come on Thursday night. So again, focus on your settings. Make sure that you save your templates, which Fantasy Labs has now worked in. Play around with the shuffle. Play around with your max exposures. Make sure that the lineups look the way that you want them to look. And when you get through building your lineups, I hope that whether you're building by hand or whether you're using a lineup builder to try and mass multi-entry or 20 max, you have yourselves a great showdown this week. Hope that this video helped. Go support the people that support us in the description down below and check out another video right there.
He's a legend.